Hello, my name is Eric. I'm one of the founders of Empathy School, and today I want to answer one of your questions, which is what is something I want my kids to learn from this school that they would not necessarily learn from another school? So I think it's a great question. Now, empathy itself is a big concept, but I just want to focus on one small concept today, which is empathy for yourself, especially with resiliency. So this was a story a few years ago when I first arrived in Bali, and I decided to tell the world that I was creating Empathy School. I went to Facebook, I went to the community group, and I posted. I poured my heart out, my soul out. I talked about the kind of education I wanted, what my passion was. I mentioned that, in Harvard I had designed this and built this, and it was my dream. And of course, I got lots of good messages. I got some people enrolled in the school because of it, right? So there was a lot of positives, but there was also some negatives. And unfortunately, at that time, I was very weak at resiliency. People were messaging. They were calling me a charlatan. They were calling me a scammer. They said, hey, you didn't go to Harvard. You're just here to scam and steal money from people. And that's bad. You don't want to receive these messages, and it's embarrassing. At first these guys were trolls. At first I tried to feed the trolls like, hey guys, here's my proof, here's my pictures that I went to Harvard. And they said, oh, anyone could Photoshop those pictures. Okay, here's my Harvard email. Anyone can have a Harvard email. So obviously I didn't really know what to do. But then it got worse. They kept attacking me. They kept bringing in new friends. Every day I would get different messages from people who would be calling me scammers. And it was really stressful. Right? They would bring in different friends and they would start messaging in the group, and I would block them, but someone else would come and someone else would come. And it really started getting very dark. And the reason it got dark, because I wasn't strong enough in my resilience. I had never had the experience to really, have this experience, but also the time and the space and the support to contemplate how can we be resilient and how can we understand that this will happen. Whenever you have an innovative idea, be it you, be it me, be it our kids, people are going to criticize them. But the point is that you have two kinds of populations. You have the population who really, for whatever reason, they attack instead of doing, and then you have those that are really willing to dare greatly. Now, this desire to attack, I don't blame it on people. It's part of what we as humans developed. It's part of our shame mechanism that we've used to control and regulate societies throughout history. I fundamentally disagree with the concept of usage of the tools of shame. However, I understand that it exists, and I understand that I, my kids, you, your kids, we all need to be more resilient, because people will disparage good ideas. I had posted the school on Google Maps because I was very happy that we started it. We had maybe 4 or 8 kids at the time. It was still very small. And they start messaging me over Google. They start saying they're coming to the school. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid for myself. I'm afraid for my children. These people, they're just not stopping. They seem insane. So yes, I had a lot of fear, and I brought that fear inside of me, and I ruminated on that fear. What if they will come to my house? What if they will hurt me? What if they will hurt my kids? That's when I need to take a deep breath. The likelihood of them doing that is nil. The thing is, I wasn't ready, and I want to make sure that in the future I'm ready and my kids are ready. My son, he's only 10 years old, and he's telling me the many things he wants to do with his life. He's not 100% sure, but then again, who is at maybe any age, let alone 10? But he tells me maybe he wants to study quantum physics, maybe he wants to work on how to devise something to stop gravity. We don't really know how gravity works yet, though. Or maybe he wants to do asteroid mining, or maybe he wants to, study the weather and patterns of Jupiter. So obviously he wants to do science, really hard science. And that's great, that's wonderful. My job is not to say no, my job is not to say it's impossible. My job as a father and as a principal of the school is to say, how can I help you achieve your dream? What I want for my kids from this school is many things, but one of those really critical items is empathy, not just for other people, but for yourself. Empathy to understand yourself, to be patient with yourself, to love yourself, to be able to protect yourself. Because of all the empathies that we ever talk about, that one is perhaps the most critical, but unfortunately the most often overlooked.